Aaron, we're really happy to have you. And maybe with the theme of the new 2025 Almanac, we'll start with the Seahawks, but then take a look at some other teams around the league because it's always this really information packed, but also easy to digest and usually pretty funny summary of everything that you need to know about these teams. As part of it, you do look at here was what last year was about in a couple words. Here's what this year is about. When you looked at the Seahawks, what do you feel like the biggest change from 24 to 25 was in your mind, like kind of the story of their season?
The story of their season the last couple of years has been, hey, we're kind of good but not great every year. That's what the chapter is about, the fact that they seem to rank 14th every year. And there's a little bit of purgatory in that because you don't make the playoffs, or if you make the playoffs, you lose in the first round, and you're not getting great draft picks, but you're also not winning playoff games. So they're just sort of running in place. And the question is, have they conquered that this year by changing the quarterback and changing the offense so significantly?
Hey, you ranked the Seahawks number 2 when it comes to talent under the age of 25. How do they not mess this up? How do you build off of the talent that they currently have on the roster?
Well, the biggest problem is that the talent under the age of 25 doesn't include the quarterback position, and that's the most important position, right? So the way to not screw this up is either to build on what Darnold did last year, which we honestly, have reservations about whether that's possible, or to draft a young quarterback next year and build around that quarterback with all the other young talent that they have at all these other positions. Unfortunately, that's the one thing they're missing is the quarterback.
I know that this team has really, really leaned into obviously their defense and is hoping that just this will lead us where we need to go. As you know, that doesn't always result in the season that you want. There were plenty of teams with top 5, 6, 7 finishes defensively last year that weren't in the playoffs or that kind of struggled to stay consistent. Without having a top tier quarterback, right? What can Seattle do offensively to complement what they're trying to do on the other side of the ball?
Well, offensively, I think they want to be a run-first team. I'm not that excited about their running backs. I don't want that to be seen as negative. I'm not negatively, unexcited. It's an analytics thing. There aren't a lot of running backs who really move the needle, either positively or negatively. And as far as the wide receivers go, the big question is just what does Cooper Kupp have left? Because he did not, in the second half of last year, look like the Cooper Kupp of legend who had that amazing Triple Crown season or whatever it was for the Rams a couple of years ago. And nobody really in the league considers Marquez Valdes-Scantling to be a starting wide receiver. So they need to get better offensive line play. They need to really make the running game go. That's what they want to really build around, hoping that feeds the play-action pass. But then who are they play-action passing to, right? Cooper Kupp is not a guy who's going to be running deep routes. That's Valdes-Scantling, and he drops too many of them.
Yeah, that's been, I guess, his reputation in this league. He has made some big plays, but, yeah, that's definitely a part of his profile. I heard a conversation you had on a podcast, and it said the NFC West, you guys were discussing, could it be the best division in football? When I think about the best division in football, I naturally go to the NFC North maybe, or maybe the AFC North. What is it about this division that you feel like could possibly be the best division in football? And what was your conclusion with that conversation?
It doesn't have Cleveland in it. That's part of it, right?
Oh, no.
As far as the AFC North, right now, our projections would say the NFC North is the best division. But if we are not giving enough credit to Macdonald and his ability to build a defense over multiple years, and I'll fully admit we may not be giving him enough credit for that, then it's Minnesota's defense that's likely to take a step back while Seattle's defense takes a step forward. And that would make the NFC West likely the best division in football. We really like the Cardinals. They were 14th in our numbers last year. I don't think people realized they were that good. Their defense, we like to take a step forward. San Francisco was 13th in our numbers, despite going 6-11, and they're going to have much better health this year. And then I don't need to explain to people why the Rams are good, obviously, Stafford and Puka Nacua, and then, the defense having young players like Jared Verse and Fisk. That's a quality team, too. And so you put that all together, and you end up with a very good division with somewhat easy schedules because of the teams they play from other divisions.
I wanted to take a closer look at the Cardinals. I'm really glad you mentioned that. My next question was going to be, hey, the Cardinals are the team that I feel like I understand the least in the division and am the least able to kind of predict. What's something that you feel like maybe we overlooked or just fundamentally didn't understand or recognize about this team last year? And where's their maybe biggest area of growth potential?
I mean, the underlying stats were just better than the record, right? The record was 8-9. They were 11th in offensive DVOA, which is my main rating system. So I don't think anybody would say Arizona was on the, cusp of having a top 10 offense, but they were. And if Marvin Harrison can take a step forward, and they really didn't use him that well last year, like they need to give him a wider variety of routes to run. This team could take an offensive step forward, but I think it's more likely we're going to see the step forward on defense because they added Dalvin Tomlinson, they added Josh Sweat, they added Calais Campbell, and then they used their first 2 draft picks, including Will Johnson, who I think everybody believes is really a first-round talent at cornerback who fell to the second round because of injuries, and then it turns out those injuries aren't going to keep him off the field this year. He's going to be fine. So Arizona's defense, and, they've got a defense-first head coach in Gannon, could be a top 10 defense this year.
FTN has their highest chances to win the Super Bowl according to DVOA projections. Ravens at number 1. Eagles dropped all the way down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at 4.4%, and Niners jump up at 8.6%. Kind of explain that for the folks. Why is such a drop for the Eagles and a climb for the Niners?
Well, the Niners, like I said, very good last year despite the injuries, and they're much healthier this year, but also the easiest schedule in the NFL that they are going to just chomp on all year long, especially in the second half of the season. Philadelphia, people just don't understand that defense is less consistent than offense. That team was not a great offense last year during the regular season. Yes, they were during the Super Bowl, but not during the regular season. They were a great defense. They were the best defense in the league. It's very unlikely that Philadelphia will have the best defense in the league again, especially given the talent that they lost on that side of the ball. They could be like third or fourth best defense, but third or fourth best defense is a drop from where they were last year, and they have a tough schedule. Right now, we have them with the number 2 hardest projected schedule in the league. Only the Giants have a harder projected schedule. Just to give you an example of the difference between the Eagles and Washington, the Eagles have to play Buffalo and the Rams while Washington plays Miami and the Seahawks.
How do you feel about, I can guess the answer, but Aaron, how do you feel about a Dallas Cowboys team if they don't have Micah Parsons to start the season?
I don't feel that great about the Dallas Cowboys this year in general. If they don't have Micah Parsons, I feel really not great about them, right? The same goes for Terry McLaurin, by the way. I'm waving the flag for the Washington Commanders, but if Terry McLaurin is gone, that's going to have a massive impact on their offense. They got to get these guys signed.
What do you think the chances are that the Bengals finally get that deal done with Trey Hendrickson? I mean, you would think there'd be some urgency there. And what does that defense look like without Trey Hendrickson in the lineup?
Again, from bad to worse, right? He was most of their sacks last year was like one guy. So they need to get him signed if they want to have a defense this year. And even with him, their defense doesn't look that great. I mean, this is an important thing to know about defense. You can have a great defensive player and still have a bad defense. It's not like at quarterback, if you have a good quarterback, you have a good offense. Cleveland could have Myles Garrett last year and still have a bad defense because of the other players on the defense. So having Hendrickson around doesn't guarantee the Bengals are going to have a good defense, but it'll certainly be better if they just bring him in.
The Bears were kind of a darling for a pick last year, understandably, number 1 overall pick, a ton of spotlight, and then they just kind of collapsed. And in part, that was like internal problems, right? An offensive coordinator issue, a coaching issue. This year, they're another popular pick, and I think as an NFC team here in Seattle that didn't make the playoffs, you're looking at other NFC teams that didn't make the playoffs, wondering if any of them are going to kind of leapfrog you and get in. Are the Bears a team this year where you think some of that hype is fair? How do you project their season? What stands out?
I like them. I think they're going to be better. I like the offense to be better with Ben Johnson as the coordinator, but he needs to fix the clock in Caleb Williams' head. And if not, Caleb Williams is going to keep taking a lot of sacks. Meanwhile, their defense is not that good. They don't have a lot of pass rush. Jalen Johnson, their number 1 cornerback, is injured. And they have the 3rd hardest projected schedule in the league. So I like the Bears to be a little bit better, but I don't think that they're going to rise to the level of Super Bowl contenders.
Obviously, we have Sam Darnold over here from the Vikings. So J.J. McCarthy is going to step up and be the starter. And then when I look at the Vikings offense, I feel like it's quarterback friendly with the play action and all that. And J.J. McCarthy coming from a system in Michigan where he worked a lot under center, but there's some high expectations for him over there. What about this Viking offense gives you optimism that J.J. could be successful, or do you feel like it's going to be a rough year for him?
I mean, the presence of Justin Jefferson, right, who might be the best receiver in the game. Jordan Addison's very good. T.J. Hawkinson. But you have to expect that rookie quarterbacks will be bad. And he is effectively a rookie quarterback. So you have to expect that he's going to be bad. He may not be bad. He may be good. He may be really, really bad. But it's likely that what he's going to be is just kind of bad, because that's how you have to expect rookie quarterbacks to be.
Hey, Aaron, when you're putting together the almanac, I would imagine all these stats you're tracking all through the season, so I wouldn't think that much about these teams surprises you. But that being said, when you're putting it together and you're looking back at their seasons, was there anything this year where you thought, wow, I'm a little surprised to see that. I had kind of forgotten about it, or maybe you uncovered something?
Forgot how good Arizona was underneath that 8-9 record. Really,
Yeah.
The fact that Arizona was 11th on offense, I was like, wait, really? And then I went back and looked. I'm like, oh, yeah, they really were. They had some bad luck, and that's what led to the 8-9, but they were better than their record, and that's why I think that they could be a team on the rise this year.
Whenever I hear some of the experts talk about last year's quarterback draft class, they always compare it to, I forgot what year it was, the Dan Marino draft class and all the names that were in that one. How special do you think this class can be? I mean, you look at the numbers, and I'm sure projections or whatnot. Are they being realistic with those comparisons, or do you feel like this is a possibility?
Oh, yeah, this could be there's definitely a possibility that all 6 of the quarterbacks taken in the first round last year could end up as above-average NFL starters, right? We don't know. We don't know what McCarthy's going to be. We haven't seen that much of Penix. We don't know if Caleb Williams can improve, but Bo Nix surprised. I think everybody believes that Drake May, if he was in a better situation, would have better stats, and Jaden Daniels was amazing. And that class from 83 wasn't perfect. A lot of guys got taken in the first round, but, Tony Eason kind of washed out of the league after a couple of years. Todd Blackledge washed out of the league after a couple of years. This class could be better than 83.
Looking over on the AFC side, the Chiefs' offense last year, I feel like their team never quite matches up with the overall narrative of the team, right? Like last year's offense was kind of like nickel and diming at times, but we still saw them as so elite because they won 15 games, and you have Patrick Mahomes. What kind of weapons do they add this year, and do you expect them to be a greater offense? I feel so stupid asking. They were in the Super Bowl, but do you expect them to take a step forward offensively this year?
Yeah, I think they're going to have worse luck and better offense. They're going to have guys healthy, right? Hopefully they're going to have Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice at the same time. That being said, Travis Kelce continues to get older. He was not really that great last year. He's going to be even older this year. He's reaching the end of the line. But Mahomes is special. Mahomes papers over a lot of problems. And so I think they're going to have, a top 5 offense again. What they're not going to have is every game the other team blows a field goal or fumbles a snap or all the wacky things that got the Chiefs some ridiculously close wins last year. That's not going to happen.
Does Lamar get over the hump this year? Please tell me yes.
But here's the problem with Lamar Jackson getting over the hump. Only one of them can get over the hump between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. They can't both get over the hump. So the problem is that even if the Chiefs take a step back, or even if they can beat the Chiefs, those two guys are standing in each other's way.
He is FTN Fantasy's Aaron Schatz. Aaron, thanks so much for the time, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Aaron.
The Almanac's at ftnfantasy.com/almanac, and also on FTN, check out for a stats subscription, promo code NFL15, good all weekend for 15% off.
Awesome stuff. Thank you.
All right.